Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Bringing the Zoo to you here at Brookfield Zoo. My name is Heather, and today we're at Pinniped Point where we care for the zoo's California sea lions and the gray seals. Now we know that you all are probably at home still for the holidays. Some people are on break from school or from work. So we wanted to celebrate a really special event with all of you. Peanut and Celia will be turning 2 at the beginning of 2022. So Peanut was born on January 9th of 2020, and Celia was born the very next day on January 10th of 2020. So they will be turning 2, but again, we wanted to celebrate a little bit early while a lot of their fans are home for the holidays and can watch this Facebook Live and celebrate with us. So you're gonna see that Christina is hanging out with Celia, who's in the water right now, and Z is hanging out with Peanut. Now, these girls have been learning a lot over the past 2 years, and it's really been a pleasure and very rewarding to watch how much they've grown and how much trust the care staff has built with them over these 2 years. So even though they're only about to be 2 years old, they know a lot of husbandry or healthcare behaviors, which is super impressive, and it really shows that level of trust and the bond with the care staff. So you can see Peanut is doing some voluntary eye exam behaviors with Z. She's getting just some artificial tears. It's not a real medication, but if she ever needed eye medications, you can see she's already super comfortable with that behavior because she trusts Z so much. Now Z's gonna pretend to look into her eyes. It's kind of the same instrument that an ophthalmologist would use, and we get them used to that when they're very young so that if they ever do need an eye exam, then they're ready for that and super comfortable.
Now, are eye issues common to seals?
Eye issues can be common to seals. You can see their eyes are very big because they need to be able to see in murky or deep water, so they let in a lot of light. So we definitely monitor their eye health a lot, and eye exams are one of the first medical care behaviors that they know.
Cool.
So another really cool and exciting medical behavior that they've learned to do, again, 100% voluntarily, they are choosing to participate, is a lot of us are getting vaccinated lately. Kids have to get vaccines before going to school, and these amazing girls both received voluntary injections and vaccinations, which we're very proud of. So you can see that Z is just touching Peanut on her back, and that is how we do a voluntary injection. And I'll say they're much better at it than I am even. They are really great for their healthcare behaviors.
How can you tell Celia and Peanut apart?
That's a really good question. So even though Peanut was born a day earlier than Celia, she is a little smaller than Celia. Just like people come in different shapes and sizes, so do gray seals. So if you can see, I know Celia is closer to you, so it's a little bit harder to tell because she's in the foreground, but she does weigh about 7 kilograms more than Peanut. And then if you look at the spots, those don't change. Even when the gray seals molt or they lose their fur and grow a new coat, those spots are permanent. So you can see that Celia's spots are a little bit bigger and more spaced apart, and Peanut has those smaller, closer together spots. And you're getting a great look because Z and Chris have brought them closer together.
Yeah.
So again, that's Celia closer and Peanut farther away.
So just remember that Peanut is smaller, just like a peanut.
Just like a peanut, you are correct. So it was really impressive to watch them grow because when they were born, Peanut was about 32 pounds in weight and Celia was, I think, 36 pounds. And gray seals wean or stop drinking milk and start eating fish at about 21 days or 3 weeks. So in that time, they both grew to be over 100 pounds because they gain weight so quickly. So sometimes, we would go home for the night or in the morning because sometimes we were working overnight, and we would come back and they would look bigger than when we last saw them because sometimes they were gaining pounds per day. So right now we've taken a little bit of a break. They're just swimming around having free time. And we're gonna bring out a very special seal-friendly birthday treat. So we've made them a little birthday cake made out of ice and gelatin and food-grade food coloring. And we're gonna see if they wanna interact with it. Sometimes they like to be curious from afar for a little bit before they check out any new enrichment that we have for them. So that's totally okay if they want to take their time in exploring this. So exciting. So we made them a train-themed birthday cake
Oh my
out of
gosh,
ice
that's
and gelatin.
amazing.
And in just a minute, we can probably get a little bit closer of a look when the staff is done setting it up. So one of the things that's been one of my favorite parts of caring for Peanut and Celia is that sometimes we'll come out here and just do play sessions, and they seem to really enjoy that. So there's not necessarily any fish involved. We just come out and sit with them and do fun activities, and they can participate if they want to. So they really seem to like playing in hose spray, playing in the water, just like, you know, regular human kids sometimes like to do, playing in the sprinkler. They like when we blow bubbles for them and when we bring out different toys to play with them as well, different enrichment devices. So that's been a really big part in building that relationship that makes those healthcare behaviors possible, because, you know, we try to be a really positive presence in their lives and form a really close bond with them.
We've had a couple questions because today is pretty cold. It's in the low 30s here in Chicago. And people were wondering, can they be outside when it's this cold, and is the water heated?
That is a great question. The water is heated in the winter and it's chilled in the summer. So it means it maintains a temperature of about 50 degrees year round. So the water is warmer for them. But also gray seals are a subarctic species, so they're pretty used to cooler weather, and they are perfectly comfortable in that because these cute little girls have a thick layer of blubber to keep them warm. So they're much better equipped for this weather than we are.
They're checking out the cake.
Yeah, they are. So Peanut is a little bit more adventurous of the two. She's more likely to check out new things sooner and explore. And Celia's a little bit more laid back. She's the first one to haul out and get warm and fuzzy for a nap. So we'll see if that holds true.
So let's get a nice close look at this cake. I'm going to zoom in on it.
Sure.
Where do you get such a cake for seals?
We make it in-house. So myself and one of the other keepers, Bethany, helped out, and Christina helped us out as well. It was a staff-wide effort. So we just use the food coloring and gelatin and ice, and we like to put together special treats for them for special occasions. And they really do seem to like to munch on ice and gelatin. It's sugarless and flavorless, so I don't think I would want it, but they seem to really enjoy it.
A lot of our different animals here at Seven Seas Pinniped Point, they get these types of ice treats and gelatin treats. Who do you think likes them the most?
That's a really good question. Well, I'd say in our area with the marine mammals, it's probably a tie between the dolphins and the gray seals. So they both really seem to enjoy ice and gelatin treats.
They seem to like to play with them too. They're always kind of tossing them around in the water.
Yes, they do
Waiting
look
for
fun
them
to
to
play with
melt.
as well.
So how big do they get now that they're going to be 2 years old? Will they be full grown?
Not just yet. So if you come to Brookfield Zoo, which we hope you do, you can see some of the adult gray seals, Georgian Kenak. So males are much bigger than females, and Kenak is he's over 500 pounds. And then females can be around 250 pounds or even a little bit more.
Wow.
So they're not full grown. They're still growing.
It seems like most of the gray seals we've had here at Brookfield Zoo, born in the past decade or so, have all been born either in late December or early January. Is that just typical? Is that normal?
Great question. So breeding season for gray seals is in the winter. So your observations are exactly correct. Looks like Peanut's checking out that cake a little bit. So they do usually get pregnant in the winter months, and then they have something called delay of implantation, which is just a big fancy term meaning that even though the egg is fertilized, it doesn't implant in the uterus for another 3 months. So that way, really the full length of time is 1 year, but the pregnancy has kind of a delayed start.
Oh, so they're just like kangaroos in that manner.
Yeah, sure.
Things you pick up when you're a zoo videographer.
No, you're very knowledgeable.
Well, I wouldn't say very, but.
Oh, and also another fun fact, when they are born, they're so adorable. They're fluffy and white, and they have a special coat called a lanugo. And so they have that, and they look white, and then usually around the time that they wean, that starts to fall out. So within the first 3 weeks of life, see, there's the brave little Peanut. And then they get that spotted kind of gray and darker gray coat that you see now.
And it doesn't last very long. So if you guys who are watching haven't seen them with their lanugo, go check out the Seals and Sea Lions playlist on YouTube on our Brookfield Zoo channel. And we've got some really cute video of them when they were little and we're all fluffy white.
It's a good stress reliever too for us humans to watch cute little baby seals.
Yeah, even though you guys are here around the clock when they're first born, I'm sure there's no complaints.
No, it's cuteness galore, really. Everything they do is cute, every movement they make.
Now, how long do they stay with their mother before they kind of venture out on their own?
Another great question. So when they wean or stop drinking mom's milk, they kind of part ways. It's just instinctual. So they're really only cared for by mom for about the first 3 weeks of their lives.
Oh, wow. That's really short.
It is.
And how long does it take for them to learn how to swim?
They start getting in the water pretty soon. So here at Seven Seas, we have a little more control over that than in the ocean. So we really make sure that they're comfortable in the water in shallower depths. And then we slowly increase the depth. But it doesn't take very long. They're in the water before they've even stopped drinking milk from mom.
So can you remind us what the difference between sea lions and seals are?
Another excellent question. So while they do tend to look really similar, there's a few main ways that you can tell the difference between seals and sea lions. So you're looking at cute Peanut and Celia. They are gray seals. And you can see that their ear is just kind of a smaller hole covered by a flap of skin. They don't really have external ears or external pinnae like us humans, but sea lions do. They have cute little Tootsie Roll ears that kind of look like Shrek ears on the sides of their head. So that's one good way to tell. Another great way is how they move in water and on land. So sea lions use their larger front flippers to swim, where seals have smaller front flippers, and they paddle with their back flippers. And then sea lions on land can rotate their hind hips under them and walk on all fours kind of like a dog, whereas seals do that cute little inchworm bounce on their bellies.
Now, I've also noticed in all of my years filming these guys that the seals tend to spend a lot more time kind of like upright in the water than the sea lions do.
That's sometimes how they rest. It can be called bottling or jugging. Sometimes the sea lions will do it too. But yeah, you can see Peanut's checking out that her cake on the deck.
And they do also like to sleep on the bottom of the pool sometimes, correct?
Sometimes they do, which can seem a little alarming for guests that aren't used to it, because we would never sleep on the bottom. But
how long can they hold their breaths then?
Another good question. So when they're resting, everything slows down, so they can spend, about 20 minutes on the bottom of the habitat under the water when they're sleeping.
We have another question about the water. Is it freshwater or saltwater, and is it filtered?
It is saltwater and it is filtered. It's very clean water.
And we do make our own saltwater here at the zoo, correct?
We do. We have an entire staff, shout out to the life support team, that keep the water in perfect condition for these animals.
And it gets tested pretty much daily, right? Twice a day?
I think multiple times a day, yes.
Yeah, so they make sure everything is all good. What about that black stuff that people can sometimes see in the pools? What is that?
So that's what you're probably looking at is algae. So it just naturally grows in water, and it doesn't really affect the quality of the water. And in fact, there's several good things about having algae, one of which is that it makes the habitats less reflective to the sun or light. So it's actually helpful for their eyesight as well.
Oh, she's swimming on her back. Oh, that's so cute.
It's so cute.
So can you ever see these two in the underwater viewing area?
Sometimes. So we have 4 different parts of the habitat here at Pinniped Point, and they're all interconnected. So we can rotate who has access to which parts of the habitat. So 2 of the habitats have those underwater viewing windows, and yes, sometimes they are in those habitats.
And I'm going to ask one more question.
Sure.
So you can take a second to think about it if you want. While we watch these guys. But what is your favorite gray seal fact?
Oh my goodness. I might need time to think about it because there are so many cool things about them. I would say, can I have two?
You can have two, yes.
Okay. Thank you. You're so generous.
I know.
So, number
Merry Christmas.
one, they're very vocal compared to other phocid species or seal species.
Really?
So they make this really cool vocalization called a woo, and it's exactly like it sounds. They woo at each other, and it's really cool and cute, and I won't do you the disservice of trying to imitate it, but sometimes people at the zoo don't even realize that that could come from a seal, and they're like, is that primates? Is it a ghost?
Okay.
What could that be? It's pretty funny, and it's really cool when you hear it, and you'll hear it more in the winter time, around breeding season as well.
You know what? Now that you mention it, I think I've heard that, and I did not know that it was coming from the seals.
I
Because
know.
the sea lions are very loud, and you know it's them.
Yes.
They're barking.
They do that signature sea lion bark, right? Looks like she took a little treat, and she's taking it to go. The second fact that I think is really cool is they do a behavior, we call it a bowling pin. I'm not sure that that is the scientific term, but they have really good core strength. And so even though they bounce around on their bellies, they can lift up, and they'll lift up about the top 2/3 of their body, and to look around sometimes.
Oh.
And they literally look like
So-
little bowling pins. It's really cute.
Is that like the seal version of spy hopping for
Yeah,
like whales and dolphins?
that's a great analogy.
Okay.
Just getting a better look around because
Spy
they're pretty
hopping on
low to the
lands.
ground.
Okay.
Yes.
I think that's just about it. We'll let them go because they seem a bit shy, and we want them to be able to enjoy their cake.
Okay.
So,
Thank you all so much for tuning in. We hope you had a happy, healthy holiday season and that you got to learn about Peanut and Celia. And feel free to come back on their actual birthdays in 2022 and wish them a happy second birthday.